Hello everyone. Last class I discussed about some of the issues in decision tree learning. I have just stated these issues, whereas I have not discussed. So once again I will read out these issues in decision tree learning, then I will discuss them one by one. So the major issues in decision tree learning are avoiding overfitting the data. Then next one is incorporating continuous valued attributes. Third one is alternative measures for selecting attributes. Next one is handling training examples with missing attribute values. And the last issue is handling attributes with differing cost. So I discuss these issues one by one. So the very first issue in decision tree learning is avoiding overfitting the data. So as we have discussed the previous algorithms, so those algorithms grows each branch of the tree just deeply enough to perfectly classify the training examples. So this we have seen in ID tree algorithm. So how ID tree algorithm grows each branch of the tree deeply enough to perfectly classify the training examples, right? So while this is sometimes a reasonable strategy, in fact it can lead to the difficulties when there is no noise in the data, or when the number of training examples is too small to provide or to produce a representative sample of the true target function. So in either of these cases, this simple algorithm can produce trees that will overfit the training examples. So we'll say that a hypothesis overfit the training examples if some other hypothesis that fits the training examples less well accurately performs better over the entire distribution of the instances. So obviously, so this point is correct. I hope you are all agree with this point. So we can say that a hypothesis overfit the training examples if there is some other hypothesis that fits the training example less accurately and performs the better over the entire distribution of the instances. Of course, including the instances beyond the training set also. So there is one definition for overfit. So the definition is, given a hypothesis space capital H and a hypothesis small h belong to capital H is said to overfit the training data if there exists some alternative hypothesis h dash belongs to capital H such that small h has the small error or smaller error than h dash over the training examples, but h dash has a smaller error than h over the entire distribution of instances. So then we can say that the hypothesis H is said to overfit the training data. So this is comparatively with respect to the alternative hypothesis H dash. So to understand this, now consider this figure. Let's consider this figure. So this figure is going to illustrate the impact of overfitting in a typical application of decision tree learning. So in this case, the ID tree algorithm is applied to the task of learning which medical patients have a form of diabetes. The horizontal axis of this plot indicates the total number of nodes in the decision tree. So this horizontal axis, this indicates size of the tree, which is nothing but the number of nodes in the decision tree. As the tree is being constructed, so this horizontal axis indicates number of nodes in the decision tree, and the vertical axis, so this vertical axis indicates the accuracy of the predictions made by the decision tree. Here the solid line shows the accuracy of the decision tree over the training examples. As you can see here, there are two types of lines. So in this plot you can see two types of line, one is solid line and one is dotted line. So solid line indicates the accuracy of the decision tree over the training examples, whereas the broken line or the dashed line, so that shows the accuracy measured over an independent set of test examples, but not included in the training set, because here training set is entirely different than the testing set. So the dotted line or the broken line indicates the accuracy measured over an independent set of test examples. So predictably, the accuracy of the tree over the training examples increase monotonically as the tree is grown. However, the accuracy measured over the independent set examples first increases, then it decreases. So this you can have an observation here. As the tree grows, then the accuracy measured over the independent test examples. So first it will increase, then it will decrease. So this you can observe with respect to the dashed line or the broken line. As the tree grows, the broken line first it increases, then it decreases. It indicates the accuracy measured over the independent test examples. First it increases, then it decreases. As you can see, once the tree size exceeds approximately 25 nodes, further elaboration of the tree decreases its accuracy over the test examples, despite of increasing its accuracy on the training examples. So this also you can have an observation here. How exactly the accuracy part decrease and increase with respect to the examples or the set of examples, training and testing examples. Next, how can it be possible for tree H to fit the training examples better than H dash, but for it to perform more poorly over the subsequent examples? Means how can it be possible for the tree H to fit the training examples better than H dash, but for it to perform more poorly over the subsequent examples? So one way this can occur is when the training examples contain random errors or some sort of noise. So this is what one way where this can happen, when the training examples contain random errors or some noise. So to illustrate this, consider the effect of adding the following positive training examples. So now you can see this training examples. So you can see this particular examples, that is sunny, hot, normal, strong and minus. So here outlook equal to sunny, temperature equal to hot, humidity equal to normal, then wind equal to strong, then play tennis is no, minus indicates no, that is a negative example or negative attribute, right? So given the original error tree data, ID tree produces the decision tree, as we have seen this decision tree in the previous class, right? However, the addition of this incorrect example will now cause ID tree to construct a more complex tree. Now consider this training example is incorrectly labeled. So when this training example is incorrectly labeled, then ID tree will construct a more complex tree. In particular, the new example will be sorted into the second leaf node from the left in the learned tree of the decision tree. So I hope you can recollect that decision tree which is discussed in the previous class. So along with the previous positive examples of the D9 and D11, what decision tree nodes, because the new example is labeled as a negative example here. So ID tree will search for the further refinement of the tree below this node. Of course, as long as the new erroneous example differs in some arbitrary way from the other examples that are affiliated with this node, so ID tree will succeed in finding a new decision attribute to separate out this new example from the two previous positive examples at this tree node. So the result is that ID tree will output a decision tree which is more complex than the original tree. Means you can say that the decision tree H is more complex than the original tree H dash. That is what the outcome or the result of ID tree. So these things you can observe with respect to this figure, right? Of course, small h will fit the collection of training examples perfectly, whereas h dash will not. So here we can say that after the refinement, small h. So consider small h is the resultant decision tree after the refinement, and original tree is h dash. So here the decision tree after the refinement, that is the small h, will fit the collection of training examples perfectly, whereas h dash, that is the original tree, will not fit the training examples perfectly. That is what the result here, result of ID tree. However, given that a decision node or a new decision node is simply a consequence of fitting the noise training example, we expect a small h to outperform h dash over a subsequent data which is drawn from the same instance distribution. So this example illustrates how a random noise in the training examples can lead to overfitting. In fact, overfitting is possible even when the training data are noise free, especially when the small number of examples are associated with the leaf nodes. So in this case, it is quite possible for a coincidental, regardless of the instances, to occur, so in which some attribute happens to partition the examples very well, despite of being unrelated to the actual target function. So whenever such coincidental regularities exist, then there is a risk of overfitting. So overfitting is a significant practical difficulty for the decision tree learning and many other learning methods. For example, in one experimental study of ID tree involving 5 different learning tasks with noisy, non-deterministic data, overfitting was found to decrease the accuracy of a learned decision tree by 10 to 25% on most problems. So these are what the different case studies with respect to the ID tree algorithm, right? Then there are several approaches to avoiding the overfitting in decision tree learning. So these approaches can be grouped into two classes here. First one is the approaches that stop growing the tree earlier before it reaches the point where it perfectly classifies the training data. So this class, so we can name it as a pre-pruning or avoidance class. And second class is the approaches that allow the tree to overfit the data and then post-prune the tree. So this class we can consider it as post-pruning or the recovery class. I hope these two classes are clear. So here I'll repeat, there are several approaches to avoid the overfitting in the decision tree learning. So these approaches can be grouped into two classes. So in the first class, there are the approaches that stop growing the tree earlier before it reaches the point where it perfectly classifies the training data. So this we can consider it as a pre-pruning or avoidance class. So in the second class, there are the approaches that allow the tree to overfit the data, then it post-prune the tree. So that is considered as the post-pruning or the recovery class. Although first of these approaches might seem more direct, and the second approach of the post pruning overfit the trees has been found to be more successful in practice. Even though the first class, that is avoidance class, is a more direct one, but the second approach of post pruning, which will overfit the trees, so it has been found to be more successful in practice. So this is due to the difficulty in the first approach of estimating precisely when to stop growing the tree. Because of that, the second approach is the most successful approach, which is widely used in practice. Regardless of whether the correct tree size is found by stopping early or the post pruning, a key question is that what criteria is to be used to determine the correct final tree size. So let us see what criteria to be used to determine the correct final tree size. So for that there are some approaches. So these approaches include, the first one is use a separate set of examples which is distinct from the training examples to evaluate the utility of post pruning nodes from the tree. The second approach is use all the available data for training but apply a statistical test to estimate whether expanding a particular node is likely to produce an improvement beyond the training set. For example, consider the Quinlan uses a chi-square test to estimate whether further expanding a node is likely to improve the performance over the entire instance distribution or only on the correct sample of training data. So that is what the second approach. And the third approach is use an explicit measure of complexity for encoding the training examples and the decision tree, then halting the growth of tree when this encoding size is minimized. So this approach is based on a heuristic called as minimum distribution length approach or minimum distribution length principle. So this principle or this approach I will be discussing in one of the later module. So right now just remember, you understand these three approaches. So these approaches, of course, they will illustrate the criteria which is used to determine the correct final tree size. So that is what the discussion about the first issue in decision tree learning, that is avoiding overfitting the data. Here we have seen the several approaches and different solutions to avoid overfitting the data, which was one of the issue in decision tree learning. Then the next issue in decision tree learning is a reduced error pruning, that is reduced error pruning. Here how exactly we should use a validation set to prevent overfitting. So one approach called as a reduced error pruning. So this approach is to consider each of the decision node in the tree to be candidates for pruning. Then pruning a decision node consists of removing the subtree which is rooted at that node, making it a leaf node, and assigning it the most common classification of the training examples which is affiliated with that particular node. Here nodes are removed only if the resulting pruned tree performs no worse or no worse than the original over the validation set. So this has the effect that any leaf node which is added due to the coincidental regularities in the training set is likely to be pruned, because these same coincidences are unlikely to occur in the validation set. And the nodes that are pruned iteratively, always choosing the node whose removal or which will be removed most, that will increase the decision tree accuracy over the validation set. So pruning of the nodes will continue until the further pruning is harmful. That is, which will decrease the accuracy of the tree over the validation set. So that is what the issue and the approach for reduced error pruning. Here the impact of reduced error pruning on the accuracy of the decision tree is illustrated in this figure. Here you can see how exactly the impact of reduced error pruning on the accuracy of a decision tree. So this is clearly illustrated here in this particular figure. So as you can see in the previous approach or in the previous figure, the accuracy of the tree which is measured over both the training examples and test examples. Here the additional line that you can see. So if you can compare this approach or this figure with the previous figure, in addition to solid line and dashed line, here you can see one more line, that is one of the additional line here. So that will show the accuracy over the test examples as the tree is pruned. So when pruning begins, the tree is at its maximum size, then the lowest accuracy over the test set. And as pruning proceeds, the number of nodes is reduced and accuracy over the test set increases. Here the available data has been split into three subsets. One is the training examples, second one is a validation examples used for pruning the tree, and third one is a set of test examples used to provide an unbiased estimate of accuracy over the future unseen examples. Here the plot shows, that is this graph shows the accuracy over training and test sets, and the accuracy over the validation set is used for pruning. Here using a separate set of data to guide pruning is an effective approach which will provide a large amount of data. The major drawback of this approach is that when the data is limited, that is withholding the part of it for the validation set, it reduces even further the number of examples available for training. So that is one of the major drawback here. Then the next section presents an alternative approach to pruning that has been found useful in many practical situations where the data is limited, and many additional techniques have been proposed as well, involving partitioning the available data several different times in multiple ways, then averaging the results. So that we will see in the next section or in the discussion of next issue. I hope pros and cons of this approach is clear. The pro is that it produces the smallest version of the most accurate decision tree. The cons is that it uses the less data to construct a tree or decision tree. So these are what some pros and cons with respect to this approach. So this is in detail about the second issue or the second approach, that is reduced error pruning. And in the next class that I am going to discuss the next issue in decision tree learning or the next approach, that is rule post pruning. So that I will discuss in next class. Thank you.